Okay. Hi, hello. I am Aulerdale Sinicol, and I will be the spokesperson for the other group. My group mates is Principio Janine,
Good morning po, Architect Peach.
Rainiel Justiano,
Good morning po, Architect.
Popis po. Good morning din po.
and my other two members would be Levi Credo and Marisha Ann Samson.
Good morning po, Architect.
Good morning po.
We are fourth year students. This is our final requirement for our professional practice 3 under Architect Chris Morales.
Okay, so go ahead. What do you want to know?
What is like being an ASEAN architect?
What is it like to be an ASEAN architect? Pareho lang. It's just another Okay, let me back up. Ano ba yung ASEAN architect? It's only a recognition. It's a recognition among ASEAN countries na pag ASEAN architect ka, that you have qualified to be at par with. Ang ginawa nila, yung ASEAN, syempre, different countries have different standards. Hindi naman alam ng taga Malaysia, for instance, or Indonesia, hindi naman nila alam kung ano ang standards ng Pilipinas. Hindi, vice versa, hindi rin natin alam ang capabilities ng isang Malaysian architect or yung mga sa ASEAN. So, what they had done was they wanted to parang have a baseline kung ano ang minimum capabilities ng isang arkitekto ng ASEAN. So, they came up with the ASEAN registry to qualify architects that from the ASEAN nations, to qualify them to see kung they will meet the baseline standards of ASEAN that they have established. So, pag sinabing ASEAN architect ka, among others, it just means that you are at par with the other ASEAN architects from the other ASEAN nations. Diba? So, what does that... So, how do you feel? How do I feel about it? It's nice that they recognize me and people like me, Filipino architects, na to be at par with our ASEAN counterparts.
Architect, if I may ask lang, let's just go back a little bit since we want to know you more better as well. What exactly inspired you to pursue architecture?
Actually, I did not think of architecture until before graduation in high school. I come from a family of engineers, so I thought I was going to be either an engineer or a doctor. So, nung nag-exam sa guidance counselor, to see kung anong mas mabuti sa'yo, the counselor said, okay, you'll do good in either. Pero sa engineering, okay ka naman sa engineering, but have you ever considered architecture? So that was the first time I ever considered architecture, and after that, when I walked out the door of the guidance counselor's office, that's what I wanted to be. So, ganun.
Would you say that choosing architecture was meant for you the moment na in-extend yung hand po sa inyo ng guidance counselor ninyo?
I really did not know a lot about architecture at the time, but of course, we know what architects do in general, and I felt that a light bulb went on, no? And after that, I did not consider anything else but architecture. But on a side note, I always thought that architecture is a calling. Architecture is not like any other profession. nadidefine mo, kumbaga, nadidefine mo kung ano ba engineering, ano ba civil engineering, ano ba ang accounting, ano ba ang medicine, ano ba ang architecture, 'di ba? It's designing, no, it's not just designing. What do you affect? An accountant will affect the books of the company. A doctor will make their patients well. An engineer will design bridges and roads. But an architect designs what? Designs from lying center para ipanganak yung mga bata, hospitals for their health, hanggang funeral parlors, hanggang cemeteries, di ba? So the whole time that a person lives, he is affected by architecture. So I think, ang misnomer yata na architecture is just a profession. To me, architecture is a vocation. You have to really, once you grasp, ano talaga ang role mo as an architect sa mga buhay ng tao. And, long after you have designed something, as long as what you have designed is used, whether bahay, hospital, it continues to affect people's lives. So that's a big responsibility. That's why I think ngayon na it is a calling.
So for the next question po, architect, what do you enjoy most about working as an architect in the ASEAN region?
Okay, guys, I think you have a misconception of what an ASEAN architect is. There is really the ASEAN Architect Registry is really just a group of architects, nothing more, nothing less, right now, that are preparing to have cross-border practice. So, whether you are a Filipino, I'm a Filipino architect practicing in the Philippines that is also a registered ASEAN architect, it doesn't really make me any different from any other architect except for na kung ano yung value ng ASEAN architect. Ang value ng ASEAN architect is that kung merong right now, kung merong let's say meron akong project sa Malaysia for instance, I cannot solely practice in Malaysia kasi hindi pa na-approve yung mga ganon. Wala pang cross-border practice. Pero as an ASEAN architect, I can look at the Malaysian ASEAN Registry for Architects, tapos pwede akong makipag-collaborate sa kanila. So, vice versa, kung may Malaysian architect na may project dito sa Pilipinas, pwede rin na maghahanap siya sa ASEAN Registry for the Philippines. Sino ba ang ipapartner ko dito? Kasi kailangan pa rin ng local partner. Ang ginagawa lang ng ASEAN, being in the ASEAN Registry, is it makes it easy for other architects na foreign, halimbawa may Malaysian architect na may project dito, hindi na siya kailangan magtaka kung maghanap, magaling kaya itong arkitekto na to, ang qualification ba nito, okay, ganyan.
Good morning, Architect Peach. Going back po sa academic experiences nung student pa po kayo, ano po yung naka-help po sa inyo na experience nyo noon na hanggang ngayon po sa professional practice nyo nadala nyo po?
As a student, let me tell you, as a student, I wasn't a serious student kasi I was a varsity player for basketball sa UST. So I wasn't really hindi ako yung studious type. Pero as I realized what architecture was later in the years, in mga fourth year and fifth year especially, I was very serious with architecture. Ano ba yung what do I carry ngayon na prominent sa akin? When in school, I had a lot of classmates na talagang ang galing nila mag-perspective, ganyan. And I'm not like that. I'm not in a scale of 1 to 10 sa mga sketching, drawing, ganyan. Siguro mga 4 ako, 4. So I was thinking seriously at that time na parang di yata ako magiging magaling na arkitekto, hindi ako magaling mag-drawing. So I approached my advisor. Tapos sinabi ko, sir, parang naisip ko mag-engineering na lang ako kasi parang hindi yata ako magiging magaling na architect. So sabi niya, bakit? So sinabi ko, yung mga kaklase ko gagaling mag-drawing, ganyan. So sabi niya, yung drawing is only very small aspect of architecture. Architecture really is thinking about how to design well. If you become a good architect, then those people na i-insecure ka, then you can hire them to be your renderers. Diba? When he said that, naisip ko nga yun. Sabi ko nga, hindi naman painting, hindi naman art school itong architecture. Kung hindi, what architecture is. So, nung sinabi niya, well, kung gagalingan mo maging architect, then you can hire the best, the people that do the best drawings and design, and not designs, but renderers. Diba? So after that carried me and made me pursue architecture and looked at architecture in a different light. Na okay yon kung magaling ka mag-sketch ganun, pero hindi architecture is not about that.
For the next question, as per your personal experiences, are there any differences in practice in other ASEAN regions?
I've never practiced in any other ASEAN regions, but I have practiced in the US. I had my own practice in Florida, and I practiced there for almost 30 years before I went back home dito sa Pilipinas. Is there a difference? Yes, there's a very big difference. People there are more confident in if they are architects, if they are kahit na ano sila, kung karpentero, kung pintor, kung mason, kung contractor, they are very confident in what they do. So, and also they have a lot of pride in what they do. So they make sure that what they do is mapapagmalaki nila. Hindi never yung pwede na yan o papasa na yan o sana hindi mapansin o ano. They always so which works because it's catching, 'di ba? It's nakakahawa 'yon. If you know na yung society that you're in everybody does their work as much as well as they can, then ikaw rin mamomotivate ka, hindi pwedeng papetik-petik lang o hindi ako pwede na yung gawa ko. Kung alam ko na hindi pa pwede sa akin. Like dito sa office, kung meron kaming presentation, I let them, sige, gawa kayo ng presentation. Ganun. And usually, as with most architects, we always run out of time. Diba? We're meeting na ayun na yung meeting, ginagawa pa yung ipipresent, gano'n. So a lot of, sometimes they ang nagiging focus is matapos lang at ma-present lang. So pag nakita ko at I don't think it's pwede nang i-present, hindi ko pinag-present. So sabihin ko sa kanila, tatanungin ko sa kanila, okay na ba to sa inyo? Hindi po. Hindi pala eh. If it's not okay with you, what makes you think that it will be okay to the client, di ba? That's the big difference, I think, is more dun sa Florida, yung mga tao is more conscious about the output, the quality of the output rather than the deadline. They would rather say, I can't do it, I can't finish it, give me another day. Pero ma-disappoint man yung mga kliyente, pag nakita naman nila yung gawa, happy naman sila. Kasi yung makita nila on time, tapos ano ba ito? Bakit ba ganyan? Di ba? That's the big difference. Dito parating naririnig ko yung pasensya na po. Actually, I hate that word, pasensya na po. Kasi ikaw na nga ang naka-trouble, ako pa ang magbibigay sa'yo. Dapat ikaw magbibigay sa akin, di ba? Mag-sorry ka na lang, huwag mong sasabihin, pasensya na po. Why are you asking for my patience?
Ma'am, may I ask po, how did you start in your architectural firm po?
I started out with, I was working with Leandro Locsin. And then, it was a time na the economy was very bad. Walang trabaho, walang anything. It was really very bad during the time of Marcos. Everybody, doon nag-umpisa yung nag-alisan yung mga tao kasi talagang wala kang future, nothing. So, doon nag-umpisa yung exodus ng mga Pilipino all over the world. And I was one of them. So, when I went to the States, not knowing, I only had 3 friends na kakalipat lang nila sa Orlando. So I followed them and I did not know what I was going to find. Wala akong employment, but I knew that anywhere was better than the Philippines at the time. So naghanap ako ng trabaho, nakakita ko na draftsman, manual pa lahat noon. And then hard worker kasi ako eh. So, I found mga sideline, hanggang dumami yung sideline ko na nagbukas na ako ng sarili kong office, ng sariling practice. At that time, I wasn't a licensed architect in the US, so I applied for licensure. So, I took the board exams and eventually became a registered architect in the US. And then after that, after so many years, I decided to come back home and start a practice. Yeah.
Thank you po, Architect. For the next question po, as an ASEAN architect, what do you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities for architects working within the ASEAN region?
Right now, maybe later on, being an ASEAN architect would mean more than just a title. But right now, it's really, for the most part, it's just all the ASEAN nations are trying to, parang magbubuo ka muna ng grupo mo, ng mga architects, in this case, architects, kasi may registry rin for civil engineers, may registry rin, ASEAN registry rin for accountants, for instance. Magbubuo muna kayo, each country, magbubuo ng mga grupo nila, until meron ka ng malaking grupo, and then you will talk about, okay, ready na ba tayo mag-cross-border? Yun ang tawag, cross-border practice. Meaning, pwede ako magpunta ng kahit anong ASEAN nation at para rin akong arkitekto doon na may reciprocity yung type, yung license. Na kung license ka sa Pilipinas, Asian architect ka, pwede kang mag-practice sa kahit na anong Asian country. Hindi pa tayo ganun ngayon. Wala pa, hindi pa ganun. Eventually, siguro. Pero not right now.
I just want to know po, back to your previous projects, in the making po, which one po yung pinaka nag-learn po kayo the most?
Let's see. Sa akin kasi, all projects are important. Kasi nga, it's not about me, di ba? I don't think of it as about me. So, it doesn't matter if we did the renovation, big renovation of the cultural center ng Tarlac and the provincial capital ng Tarlac. Those are big. We also did a small training center for women and children sa Naga recently, which is maliit lang siya, less than 100 square meters. Equally, to me, they are important. Equally. So, I do not dwell on the size or the grandeur of the task that's given to me. Ang inaano ko is, did I do a good job? Did I do justice to the trust that was given to me? And then I move on to the next one.
So my question is, what is your perspective on the balance between preserving cultural heritage sites and embracing modern architectural developments in our country and other ASEAN region?
I think that is always a consideration, a major consideration when you are designing anyway. Ano ba ang definition ng modern? And ano ba ang intention ng architecture? Isn't it to improve? Not to damage, but to improve. And that is why architects are who they are. Architects is you have to think of a way to improve something, add use to it, but do not damage it, 'di ba? Parang paano balance doon? You should be as an architect, you have to be conscientious enough about kung ano yung tatanggalin mo. Mapapalitan mo ba 'yon ng mas maganda, mas useful to the environment, to the people that are going to use it and everything. It is not a choice, 'di ba? It's not whether tanggalin mo yung puno or magtayo ka ng bahay. Pwede ka naman, pwede bang masave yung puno? Hindi. O sige, kung matatanggal yung puno, magpalitan natin. Diba? Hindi natin mauurong kasi sa ibang countries, nauurong ang puno. Pero dito, hindi, papatayin na lang, diba? So, pwede naman, in fact, in Florida, meron sila na any tree that's 3 inches in diameter ang breadth nung trunk niya, kailangan mong palitan ng 3 pag pinutol mo. So, in that way, hindi ka nakaka-damage. O nga, nawala nga yung particular tree na yun. Pero napalitan naman siya ng 3. Nakuha mo rin yung gusto mo. In that idea is what works, di ba? You do not damage, as an architect, you do not damage the environment. You do not damage it. You make it better. How, whether modern, you call it modern or ano, but what do we call ba our projects, diba? It's an improvement. But it cannot be an improvement of one aspect, diba? O improvement nung buhay nung may-ari ng bahay kasi dati maliit lang bahay nila, ngayon malaki. Hindi pwedeng ganon. Dapat improvement of everything. Diba? And that's what makes it hard for an architect. And that is why I say it is a vocation. Kasi kailangan yung empathy mo malakas. Diba? Kung hindi, isipin mo lang, basta tanggalin nyo na lang yan. Okay lang naman yun eh. Basta makuha ko yung fee ko project to eh. Hindi pwede yun. that makes you an empty architect?
Thank you po, ma'am. Next group po.
How do you see the future of architecture evolving in Asian countries considering factors such as globalization and technological advancement po?
I think it's not only Asian architects or Asian countries, but the whole world in general, di ba? Because of the internet, the whole world is connected, real time. Hindi katulad ng panahon namin, nung nasa Florida ako, pag susulat ako dun sa mga magulang ko, I will wait 2 to 3 weeks bago nila matanggap yung sulat ko. And I will wait another 2 to 3 weeks bago ko matanggap yung sagot nila. And then if I choose na, may telepono naman, no? Natawagan sila, it costs a lot to call them per minute. Nung time na yon, pag tumawag ka, overseas call, parang may time na, depende sa oras na tatawag ka, it costs from $4 to $7 per minute. Kaya pag nag-usap kayo, nagmamadali kayo talaga. It's $4 to $7 per minute at that time, which is, 30 years ago. Kaya mabigat yung $4 per minute. Mabigat yon. So sulat lang kami.
250. Oh
Going
my
back
God.
to how I see
Suddenly,
the architecture in the future, I think yung mga arkitekto kasi, very individualistic yan di ba? And it depends on how passionate you are about architecture. The world is not going to wait for Filipino architects to wake up and be at par globally. Right now, we are very complacent. For what reason, I don't know. But if you look at architecture students or architects in general, in other countries, in other progressive countries, they have progressive thinking. They go with the flow. Ano yung bago, ano yung mga skills na kailangan ko, they are very serious about architecture. And nakikita ko sa atin, parang okay lang, okay, ganun. May iiwan tayo talaga. And that's why one of my advocacies is to help and to talk to students like yourselves to hopefully make you aware of ano ba yung potential nyo. Ang potential nyo maka-apekto ng mga buhay ng tao. Are you up for that challenge? Or are you looking at it na kung mag-arkitekto ako, wow, magkakaroon ako ng practice, yayaman ako, whatever, magdi-design ako ng bahay ni Duterte, ni Marcos, marami akong kikitain. Then, again, you'll be an empty architect, di ba? You have to internalize and see the potential that you have, the power that you are going to have as an architect. But having said that, if you have the power, then you have to be responsible. Diba?
Should the idea of an ever-evolving architectural industry be intimidating to a fresh graduate?
It can be intimidating, di ba? That's up to you eh. It can be intimidating or it can be challenging. You choose. Di ba? Kasi kung intimidating, matatakot ka. Kung challenging, you will look forward to, come on, get it on. Get it on. Sige, bring it on. Di ba? Kung dadating na it's really up to you. It's really up to you. You have to set your goals and you have to work on it. Remember, guys, nothing that is worth it is easy. So if you want easy, then mag-draftsman na lang kayo, mag-CAD operator na lang kayo. But if you want to be an architect, then you have to roll up your sleeves, look forward to the challenges, and work on them. Work on yourself, diba? Yeah.
What is your advice to the student around there taking the architecture course and to those who's pursuing to become an architect in the future?
First, you have to have a realization. Ano ba architecture? Ano ba? Ano ba yan? Gusto ko ba yan? Gusto ko ba maging? Okay, kung gusto mo maging, ano ba dapat? Ano ba dapat ang gawin ko? 'Di ba? Okay na lang ba na paano-ano lang ako ano ba ang reason why do you want to be an architect? Do you want to matter? Do you want to improve people's lives, or do you want to get rich? If you want to get rich, then don't be an architect, kasi mahirap yumamang maging arkitekto unless anak ka ng mayaman at sa'yo papagawa yung mga project niya. That is not naman to say that there is no money in architecture, because there is. Pero it takes time. It takes time para makilala ka, maano ka ng mga tao. But I think an architect, first and foremost, have to have the right heart. Yung puso nyo dapat pang architecture. You cannot be a good architect if you do not have the passion for it. So, I think ang advice ko sa inyo is stop looking for answers. Diba? Kung pagka-arkitekto ba para sa akin, ay okay na yan, architecture is very hard. It's very hard for someone that does not understand what it is. But for someone that understands what it is and will develop a passion for it, it's just life. Hindi siya mahirap. Para lang siyang, yun ako eh.
I think that would be all the questions, ma'am. Pero before we end po, if I may lang po, ma'am, I know it's a question po na been asked na sa inyo. Could you please tell us about your nickname, Peach?
Okay. My real name is Consuelo Buencamino. Consuelo is the name of my mother. And during that time, and I have an older brother, ang pangalan naman niya, Bienvenido. Because that is the name of my father. So, to me, growing up, Consuelo is an old name. It's an old Spanish name. Parang pag sinabi mo Consuelo, lola na yung ano. But anyway, growing up, uso din yung may nickname. Mga cutie nickname. Cute ako ng bata ako. Kaya ang tawag sa akin ng family ko is Peachy Pie. So, as I grew up, I chose to, since everybody called me Peachy Pie, Peach, umiigsi, as I grew up, umiigsi, naging Peachy, naging tapos nung but I never really liked Consuelo. Parang tuwing manonood ako ng mga lumang palabas, yung Consuelo, yun yung lola. So, but now, of course, I have a different take on my name because my mother has already passed. So I appreciate my name because it's her name, and I'm honored that she named me after her. Pero, lalo na sa Amerika, pag sinabi mo, hirap silang sabihin ng Buencamino. Hirap na hirap sila. Pag sinabi ko pang Consuelo Buencamino, wala nang tatawag sa akin just because ayaw nilang ma-offend ako, natawagin nila ako with the wrong pronunciation. So, madali yung Peach. And yun na it's stuck.
Thank you, Architect, for your time. That would be all the questions we have prepared. We thoroughly have enjoyed our time, and we hope you did as well. And we appreciate the knowledge you have poured into us.
I have friends that are Asian architects, and they're saying, ilan na nakuha mong request sa TIP, ilan na ganyan. So So anyway, I expect you guys to have a different take on your report about Asian Architect. Being an Asian Architect right now is nothing more than just a registry. It doesn't affect your practice. It's just another qualification. I was one of the first 40 Asian architects. My registry number is number 8. So when the Asian registry was being prepared, I was one of those evaluating the qualifications of the candidates. So I know the Asian Architect Registry. And right now, it may be more than what it is now in the future. But right now, it's a nice qualification to have that you are an Asian Architect. It means what I know is at par with other Asian nations. What the Asian Architect Registry did for you is to reach out to an Asian architect called Consuelo Camino to talk to you about real professional practice. Okay, guys? Good luck.
Thank you
Welcome.
po.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Architect.
Thank you po.
Well, hey, it is the day of the interview. We just finished. And honestly, I have so many takeaways from that interview. And, well, one of the things is that meeting an Asian architect, and honestly, it felt like meeting someone with a higher status, which is true because she does have a high status. She taught us about the professionalism in the field, and also the practice was amazing. Even though the title itself of being an Asian architect is not any different from being a local architect here in the Philippines, but hopefully in the future to be more. It does provide an architect who studies the practice or does the practice more in depth. It provides a studying architect the practice to. It provides the architect a chance, an opportunity to do the practice abroad in other countries, and it's amazing. It definitely gave me a new perspective about being an architect, and at the same time, it gave me some sort of higher purpose, if I say so myself. During the interview, there were a lot of long, sullen silences. So that's one thing. And well, being quiet, and the architect Buen Camino was just pointing out, hey, you shouldn't be, huwag kang masyadong tahimik kasi this is your profession, this is what you're supposed to be doing in the future. So being quiet won't really get you clients or get you standing in the field, and it makes sense. Architect Buen Camino mentioned about empty architects and how as architects, we shouldn't be chasing the money, and that is true because if you're a fresh grad, you don't get paid much, only in the long time. It reminded me of that saying by Ian McKellen where he said, create not to make money or fame, but to experience becoming. And I could definitely feel the same energy as Architect Buen Camino has mentioned. Empty architects chasing monetary gain and titles instead of helping people. Other than that, there's nothing else left. My group, everyone did so well. Other than that, that is my reflection for the interview with the Asian architect. This has been an amazing final requirement for giving us this chance, to giving us the means to find an Asian architect and ask them about the professionalism.
So my reflection for the past interview with architect Peach Buen Camino, is that she made us realize about the importance of being an architect that loves to help the community, design and plan for the community rather than an architect that only uses the word architect for, parang pampaganda lang ng pangalan, something like that. She told us na being an architect is uh, important job na in terms of planning designs which help people move freely and walang sagabal, maganda yung design, something like that. Ganun yung pagkaka-understand namin sa sinabi ni Architect Peach. At the same time, dinifferentiate niya rin yung mga pagkakaiba ng isang architect and engineer, which is Architect Peach comes from an engineering family, which bago siya nag-aaral pa lang siya, iniisip lang na baka magiging engineer din siya, but as it progressed, turns out naging architect siya. She chose this path, as an architect instead of being an engineer. Sinabi niya rin yung pagkakaiba ng pagpaplano ng bilang isang architect at isang engineer. Tapos nag-practice din siya ng architecture after niya sa college. Is nag-practice siya ng architecture overseas sa Florida, which is na-explain niya sa amin yung construction methods ng ginagamit sa ibang bansa, especially sa United States, and paano yung pinagkaiba nun dito sa Pilipinas and how we can adapt it. Yun yung parang work ethics na ginamit niya, na ano yung ginagawa doon, yun yung ginagawa niya rin dito as for his firm. At sinabi niya rin yung sa aming mga student na ibigay yung best effort namin every time as sa career na to, and so that we can take our best judgment for the betterness ng community natin. Tapos tinanong ko siya kung paano nga nag-start yung firm niya. She worked under Leandro Locsin, and that's the time na pumunta na siya sa ibang nag-overseas siya, which is during the martial law. Doon siya nagtrabaho sa US, and then when she came back, yung mga natutunan niya, yun yung ginamit niya as a leverage para magawa yung firm nila and mag-stand out hanggang ngayon. And yun, to be an ASEAN, one of the recognized as ASEAN architects. Actually, binibase niya lang yung pagiging ASEAN as a recognition, but as a recognition of being an architect. But para sa kanya, it's just another recognition, but it's still an architect. It's still about how you plan and how you make the betterness para sa community ng na-handle mo. Yun.
Being granted a chance to interview an Asian architect was an insightful accomplishment as an architecture student. This is the first time I had to experience engaging with an experienced professional. The Asian architect that our group had the opportunity to interview is Architect Consuelo Buencamino, also called as Architect Peach. Architect Buencamino detailed what it's like to be an Asian member and what Asian stands for now. Based on her, the Asian Architect Registry is a platform for professionals to practice and collaborate across other countries. Architect Buencamino adopts an extensive approach to architecture as she discusses the significance of the architectural aspects, including the functionality and technique in designing a structure within the community. An architect must always give high quality service and emphasize the satisfaction of the client. Also, the architect is obligated to create spaces that present sustainability and fairness, not just aesthetics. Aside from that, Architect Peach also shared the experiences and journey she had upon pursuing the architecture profession, the inspiration she had, and the challenges she faced. Upon the interview, we had with Architect Peach, it deepened my comprehension of the significance of lifelong learning. The concept and the information she shared will serve as a reminder and guidance for me in becoming an architect. In the field of architecture, we must be open to new ideas and be updated to technological advancement. Since architecture is for the people, making life easier, accessible, and safe, essentially enhancing the quality of life. It is inspiring to hear about the journey she had. The enthusiasm and determination of her is really admirable. In addition, the interaction we had with architect Gwen Camino was a valuable experience. It not only broadened my familiarity with architectural practices and globalization, but it also aided my career development in becoming a professional individual.
Having a chance to have an interview to an Asian architect is a good opportunity to us to get to know more about the real professional practice. We interviewed architect Peach Camino as she enlightened us how her life as an architect came to being and what it is like to be an Asian architect. According to architect Camino, when she was still studying in the academe, unlike her peers that excels in drafting and perspective, she's not as good as them, and it sprouts doubts in her heart if architecture is meant for her. By talking to her advisors, she learned that it is not only by drawing skills that can make you an architect. It is different from fine arts. If you have the essence to be an architect and you know what it really is to be, drawing skills will not hinder you. You can hire people to do renders. This inspires me that despite not being the best student and having doubts in the beginning if architecture is for her, she pushed through and became a renowned architect because it has to be in your heart and passionate about it. She said that will you only be a CAD or operator or an architect? As per her experience as an Asian architect, she debunks our view of what it is like to be an Asian. Architect Buan Camino is one of the first architect who applied and was registered as an Asian architect, stating that her registration number is number 8. According to her, being an Asian architect is not as different from the normal. It is only a group of people with the same certification from other people internationally. They are recognized to be globally competitive, but there hasn't been an open border practice yet. Therefore, when they have projects internationally, she still have to cooperate with local architects. She hoped that in a few years, being an Asian architect will be different and it will make the students and future architects more competitive and give more satisfying outputs. Having this discussion, it opened my mind that architecture is hard. Being recognized and earning more when we became an architect will also be hard, and it is through your hard work and passion will you move forward in this profession and reach the global standards. Just like our architect Juan Camino said, architects should be resourceful.
Having an interview with professional and registered ASEAN architect has expanded my knowledge of the field of architecture and given me important insight into what to anticipate for my future career as an architect. Having received a personal insight from an expert, I feel more prepared to outline my own objective and hope for the future of my architectural career. Architect Gwen Camino shared the experience and challenges she faced in the process to become a successful ASEAN architect. Architect Gwen Camino explained that ASEAN Architect Registry is a platform for professionals to practice and collaborate with other countries. And one of the most remarkable statements from our interview with architect Gwen Camino is that as an architect, our responsibility is not limited to just planning buildings. We are also expected to design space that enhance people's lives. We need to be mindful of the environment impact of our work and strive to make it better than worse. This requires being cautious about replacing and disposing things responsibly, as well as ensuring that our endeavors are sustainable and beneficial for the society. In conclusion, our main task as architect is not to design building but rather space that improve occupant lives. While minding our impact of the environment, we should underline our desire for positive change. This will help in making this earth better for the current generation and those that come after us.
As a student, this interview provided us with valuable lessons and perspectives that will undoubtedly shape our approach to architecture. It reinforced the importance of empathy, collaboration, and continuous learning in our pursuit of architectural excellence. Throughout the interview, we have gained deeper understanding of the complexities and nuances of architectural practice within the ASEAN region. The architect's emphasis on cultural sensitivity and collaboration resonated deeply, highlighting the importance of respecting diverse cultural identities and fostering partnerships to create meaningful architectural solutions. In the ending, let us carry forward the insights gleaned from this interview as we embark on our own architectural journeys. May we remain committed to creating spaces that not only reflect the spirit of our communities, but also contribute to a more sustainable and inclusive built environment.